Welcome to the Spiritually Rich podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Ziola, and I am so excited about this very special guest that we have here today, Danielle Paige, who is an intuitive astrologer and spiritual teacher and just an incredible woman. And I'm so excited for you to be here and to share your wisdom to everyone who's going to tune in. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the beautiful introduction.
Yeah, of course. I really appreciate you taking the time. So, to start, I'd love to begin with just sharing a little bit about your story and how you ended up doing what you do now for all of the women and men who will watch this later, because obviously a lot of them aren't even going to know. And I would love for them to know about your background and a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah. Okay, my story is crazy and it's pretty wild. I still laugh about it today because I'm like, wow, they really got thrown in here. So I had no plans of doing any of this stuff, really. My background was in interior design and architecture. That's what I was doing. But while I was doing that, I kept feeling like something was missing. I kept saying I want to help people, but I didn't know what that meant. And so, this was around 2008, 2009, probably 2008 when I started saying that. And so, at that point, the online world wasn't as it is now, right? So I thought, oh, maybe I need to go back to school to be a psychologist. But I just kept saying I just knew that I needed to help people, but I just kept hearing that and feeling that, but I didn't know what that meant. And then, so I was turning 30 and I was living with my boyfriend at the time. And so we went to France together for my 30th birthday. We were in Paris, and on my 30th birthday at dinner, he dumped me. Yeah.
Insurance.
So
Oh my God.
yeah, so that was fun. So that happened, and then I'm skipping a lot of pieces here, but long story short, when we came back, I really I went for a walk, and at the time I didn't know it was my intuition because I didn't really have any awareness about any of the stuff then. But I went on a walk and I got this very strong message that it was time to go back to California because we were living in Boston. And it was time to go back to California. And, again, at the time, I didn't understand any of this stuff, but it was so strong. It felt like it just someone imprinted it into my body. And so I quit my job at one of the top architecture firms. People would have like died to work there. And they were very nice, but I wasn't happy because it wasn't my dream, what I was doing. And so I ended up going back to California, and that's when the economy tanked. So it was 2009. There were no jobs. I was crying about my relationship. I was living with my parents, who I haven't lived with since I was 18. So that was fun. And we didn't have a great relationship at the time. So honestly, it was really bad. And I was hitting rock bottom. It was a pretty horrible feeling. I felt like a loser. I felt like a failure. It was a hard time. So about a month after that, I started waking up after having dreams that were so intense that they would tell me about so many things that would happen, and it was getting a little weird because I've had dreams every once in a while before this, like throughout my life, but I didn't have the consciousness. Nobody was really talking about this stuff then, so I just was like, oh yeah, I had a dream and I felt this, and then I just went on to something else. But these dreams were so real, and then they started showing me things that would happen during the day. And so I had to take a step back and kind of figure out what was going on because like something was happening, but I didn't know what. Okay, so this was an inside job. This was all happening from within. And then I woke up in the middle of the night one night and I opened my eyes and I see a spirit in front of me. Now, the spirit wasn't scary, but I was scared because I've never seen anything like that. I was very aware that I'm conscious, I'm awake, like I'm not dreaming, I'm talking to myself, I have, mental ability that this is happening. And it scared me. So after that, I didn't sleep with my lights off for about 2 weeks. And then I thought I was going crazy. And I was living with my parents, and I honestly was about to go to them and say I needed help because I thought I was seeing things because things kept happening after this. And then I realized this is what changed. I realized, wait a minute, if I was actually going crazy and if I was losing my mind, I wouldn't have the awareness that I look crazy. And I'm like, oh, I know I look crazy right now. And unfortunately, that people that, when things happen, like they don't have that awareness. So I was like, wait a minute, something is happening. I was guided to meditate. And when I say guided, it was spirit guiding me, impressing me into my body, which I didn't know then, but I know now. And I didn't know how to meditate. I didn't even know what that meant, but I sat down and I would try. And then I would get into these deep meditations, and then I would open my eyes and I would start seeing images in front of me. Like when people are on plant medicine, but I was on no plant medicine, right? I was on nothing. I don't even do anything. So I don't even drink anymore. So that was really wild. And that was really the turning point when I realized, okay, something is happening here. And all I can say with this, and again, there's way more to the story, but all I can say is I started feeling from the inside out that something is changing, that this is powerful, that I needed to pay attention to this, that this was a good thing. Because also, so I was 30 at this time. For the first 30 years of my life, when I was old enough to start getting jobs and stuff, I hated every job I had. I thought there was something wrong with me. And I just felt like something was missing my whole life. And then when this started happening, I felt this peace in my heart that I've really never felt before. And that's how I knew that something good was happening, right? I had no awareness from the outside, nobody telling me this, but I trusted myself because of the way I was feeling. And I'm like, no, I felt like I was coming home. That's the only way I could describe it. Like couldn't say those words then, but I could say that now. And I felt this peace and this love in my heart. And what was happening is because my soul was coming online, I was sort of like, we're walking around like robots, all of us, right? And I had no idea. And so I then stumbled into astrology. That's an amazing story of how I found that. And I started teaching myself astrology, and it was so easy for me. It was this language that I understood. And, I'm not great at languages, like Spanish and, you know, French, German. Like I wish I could speak all these languages, but I'm just not good at it. But this was something that I just got. It's an archetypal language, and my soul just knew this. So I started teaching myself. And then I realized I was like, oh, I'm just remembering this. And then, now we're 17 years later, which is crazy to say. But 17 years later, now I do astrology, and it's morphed into consciousness and energy. And it's really about helping people navigate this human journey from a higher cosmic perspective, because I realize that, we all have gifts. We're all talented. Every single person contributes in many beautiful ways. And my gift is zooming out and seeing things from a higher perspective that also not a lot of people are ready for, because I've seen that. But I'm here to trigger people sometimes. It just happens. So what can you do? What can you do?
Wow.
I
So
know. And I left out like a lot of stuff. So yeah.
amazing, though.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful story. And I love stories where, your darkest moments obviously lead you to your path. I mean, that's also why I'm
Yeah.
doing work and what led me to step into my full purpose as well. So
Yeah.
I've found that, like, especially with people that are in the spiritual world, spiritual teachers, healers usually have
Mhm.
had some of the darkest paths, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, because our soul needs to evolve at a quicker rate. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I would love to talk, I think, more about the astrology piece. I love that you said
Yeah.
it's a second language to you. It just made sense, and
Mhm.
all of the downloads. So, especially this year, right? The year of the fire horse, as everyone's talking
Yeah.
about online.
Yeah.
But really, just the energy for this year, I think it's so potent, so powerful, and I love when you're intuitive and you can do an energy forecast, especially with your skill set. Because I've always told my clients, when you have some sort of idea about what's going on, it's so much easier for you to work with the energy
Yeah.
versus, like you said, just going through life, waking up, just constantly reacting to everything.
Yeah.
So I just got goosebumps. So yeah, I
Yeah.
would love for you to share, your take on the energy forecast for this year, and maybe, how people can utilize that to
Mhm.
step into their highest timeline and their highest destiny.
Yeah. I want to first start off with saying that, we're going through very challenging times. And that's the reality. And, I don't want to sugarcoat. I'm very direct and honest. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that it's not an easy time right now, on the world stage and the collective, and then our personal life, because it's as above, so below. There's always a mirror to both. So, that being said, I just want to honor that it's amazing that, I think the people that are watching your show, they're doing the best they can, right? I think there's a lot of people in the world that aren't aware, and they'll get there when they get there. But the people that are watching your show and listening to this right now, I want to honor them because it's not easy. It's very hard. We're being completely like pulled back, the layers and the layers and the layers and layers. And sometimes we're like, when is it going to stop? And it just keeps happening. So I recognize that, because the first thing people always ask me is like, oh, when is it going to get better? And I think that, it's like, I get the question, but it's my responsibility to let people know that we're in a very pivotal time in human evolution. I believe it was 2020, it might have been 2021, I can't remember, but probably closer to 2020. I went into the Akashic Records and I'm like, what's going on here, right? What's going on with everything? And they told me they're purposely not showing everyone. Like, obviously, there's a lot of us, we get bits and pieces of stuff, but they said they're purposely not showing us what's happening for our highest good, like the big picture. And I think that we can start putting, dots together and start figuring it out. But this is a huge, massive evolution. This is a huge, massive shift. So, that being said, we're in it. It's, the next couple years, it's not that it's going to be bad. It's just the whole idea is that what's the word I want to use here to be graceful? We're unraveling old systems. And so when they unravel, it's chaotic and it's crazy and things are getting revealed, right? So there's going to be a lot more stuff coming up that is shocking, right? And here's the thing that I want to say that I've been observing. I love humanity and I love psychology and I love observing. And I think that there's a lot of people that are waking up to things. And I also understand that it's overwhelming. And it's like, well, I just want to like raise my kids and do my thing. And that's totally understandable. But I've also seen it, like a lot of people, humanity in general, they're not seeing what's in front of them. And I think it's really important as we go through 2026, if we're getting very real here, is to be very clear and start seeing what is in front of us, because we all have these programs. We're all conditioned a certain way to believe something, and that's all changing, right? You could have been one way your whole life, and then you're realizing, wow, I don't know why I actually did that, but I need to start opening my eyes and going this direction. That's the true evolution, right? That's true spirituality. It's being honest with yourself. It's looking in the mirror. It's saying like, okay, okay, I'm changing directions. I was looking that way. Now I'm going to look this way, right? Or I'm doing this and now I'm going to do that. So that's really what we're undergoing here as humanity evolves our consciousness. So, like, that's big picture. But this year is very quick. The energy is very fast. The horse here comes in, the fire horse, and it's all about taking action and movement. Now, one thing I say, and I've been telling my membership, is it's not so much about movement that it's like hysteria, because what happens, like the shadow side of this fire horse and all the astrological energy for the year, the shadow side could feel overwhelming and have a lot of anxiety and feel chaotic. That's the shadow side of Aries too. It just dives in and asks questions later. And sometimes that's great. And then sometimes that's like, well, no, I learned my lesson. I shouldn't do that again. Okay. So we are taking action and we are moving forward, but it's really important that we get clear and that we're strategic as well, that it's not just like diving in. But that being said, what is being asked of us this year is courage in a new way, of stepping into something that we haven't done before. It's motion, it's movement, right? It's stepping up and it's feeling brave and feeling courageous. And, I think, listen, we're all dealing with stuff. There's stuff that I'm doing that I'm like, oh, I'm pushing myself to like the limit, right? But I remind myself always that at the end of the day, this is a game. We're here on earth, that this is an experience for our soul. And while it might seem so hard or so intimidating, which it could feel, and that's very valid, I like to zoom out a little bit and say, okay, am I going to worry about this in a year, right? Am I going to feel like this in a year? I remember a long time ago, before I had my awakening, I went to a internship and I was interviewing. And so before I walked in, I was so nervous. And I remember at the door, like this came through again before I had my awakening. I was in my 20s. And I said, I know this feels like the biggest deal. And I was like sweating and I was nervous. And I'm like, oh my God, right? Because it was a big deal. But I said to myself, basically, in so many words, I might be so nervous right now, but in 6 months from now, it's not going to be a big deal. And so that softened me up. So I want to put that perspective to people to show them that what might feel so intimidating, just take a deep breath, step into your power and go for it, because we only have this life, right? Yeah, I believe past lives, future lives, parallel lives, but everything we do right now is impacting all of those lives, right? So we have the chance now. We're here for this game. We're here for this ride. It's like, what else are we going to do anyways? You're going to sit home and watch, The Bachelor all day. I mean, I love that, but like, what are you going to do? Like, let's go out there, put yourself on The Bachelor, go do something. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, but just we have to take action. So that's a lot of the energy this year. It's going to be moving quick. It's going to be fast. I feel like we're going to get to the end of the year and be like, what just happened? And then all of a sudden it's 2027. So I feel like that's going to happen for people.
Right. I absolutely love that, and I resonates so much with everything that's been coming through for me too. And I would love to
Yeah.
touch on the courage, because something for everyone watching that I want you to remember is like there's always going to be fear when you need to take a courageous act, right? But it's when you move through the fear, like that courageous act is actually what's going to allow you to make those quantum leaps in your life,
Yep.
right? And to really step into your full potential and your full power. And
Mhm.
the thing is there's always, for everyone, it doesn't matter what stage in your journey you're at, whenever you're wanting to go to your next level, especially when you want to make like big quantum leaps, there's
Mhm.
going to be a component of fear. If you didn't have any fear, you would just have confidence, right? You'd be like, oh yeah, no, I've done that before. Like you said, like you were sweating, it was new with
Yeah.
that story, right? But it's like once you've been through it, you've done it, you can do it. It's like, oh yeah, like I'm confident now. But I would just invite everyone who's listening to like really tune into what Danielle just said and make this the year of your most courageous acts, like every week. Like, what is one courageous act I'm going to take this week to like
Mhm.
really move the needle towards more of the life that I dream of,
Yeah.
right? And I think that when you do that and you have people that hold space for you to do that, you can make like the biggest shifts. And the energy right now with the fire horse, I think, is like the perfect time, right?
It's everything. I shouldn't say everything because that's not true, but so many things are going to change this year for people in a way that it hasn't before. And, in my 2026 forecast, I said, who do you want to be? Go be it. And I gave the example as, let's say it was like 1950, whatever, and you're an artist. Well, good luck being an artist and making money off that. Like, I don't know how that worked. Like, who is going to find you? Who's right? Like, I don't, good luck. I mean, how many people were making money off that? Now, if you're an artist, you paint, you sing, you put it on TikTok, you put it on Instagram. It is so easy now to make money, so easy to be seen. It's so easy to leverage the system in a different way that it's like, who do you want to become? I mean, there's people I've never seen before. They pop up, and the next thing you know, they have like a million followers, or whatever. They have all these followers, and it's like they just created a brand because they wanted to. So it's like, who do you want to become? Step into that. It's a beautiful opportunity, and that's all this Aquarius energy. It's like power to the people. It used to be like, if you wanted to be an actress before, you had to go to Hollywood, you had to get an agent, you had to go. Now, to be honest, you make commercials on your phone, and then people pick you up, right? So it's like, it's totally different. It's not top down anymore. It's literally power to the people. Anything goes, and it's like, who do you want to be? What do you want to create? So that's really exciting too.
I love that. It's so
Yeah.
true. It's so powerful. Before we hopped on, you were talking a little bit about maybe sharing. We're filming this in February. This will probably be released in the spring. But just kind of touching on what's happening now because you said it may still be affecting people
Yeah.
in the springtime. I would love to just
Yeah.
tell.
So we're in February right now, and it's a huge month. So two eclipses, well, one in February, one in the beginning of March, but we're right now in the middle of eclipses, which I like to call the windows in between. And eclipses happen every 6 months, and they shift our trajectory of our soul. That's when big changes happen. We step into our power. We say yes, we say no. We get married, we get divorced. You find out you're pregnant, you find out you're getting a new job, you find out you're losing your job, right? So it's big pivotal moments. And I like to say, whatever happens during an eclipse, you have to surrender to it. You have to allow it and do not force something. Like if there's a relationship that's ending during an eclipse, you cannot go grabbing, you cannot beg and plead, because whatever happens around eclipse season is aligned for your soul's path, not your ego's path. Okay. So it's a really big deal. We also just had Saturn and Neptune move out of Pisces and into Aries. And this is very much about power. Now they're conjunct right now, and they're going to be conjunct February 20th. And the last time they were conjunct, they were in Capricorn and the Berlin Wall came down. So this is literally about systems and structures. This is about what is your dream, and then let's make it into reality. So a lot of you're going to see on the world stage a lot of like leaders, a lot of like old systems are crumbling. We're starting to see through. So that's already starting to happen as well, and that's going to set the tone for many many years to come. So that's a very big collective shift. Now, in the spring, we have Uranus moving into Aries. Sorry, Uranus moving into Gemini. So that happens April 26th. And that is also a big deal because Uranus has been in Taurus for a while. And with it in Taurus, it was changing the food systems. It was changing like Bitcoin, crypto, right? Our financial systems. We're, now seeing more. It's more common to be like, oh, food is getting sprayed. They're spraying our air, right? So, people weren't talking about that years ago. So things are changing. So when it moves into Gemini, that's going to be a very interesting time. It's going to be there for many years. And Gemini is communication, it's social media. So technology is just on this trajectory that we've never seen before. Like we think you learn one thing about ChatGPT and that's out. And it's like ChatGPT is like kind of old news at this point. And then there's all these new technologies coming in. So, and I'm getting chills with that. It's escalating so quickly. And this is what I say. I know there's a lot of people in the spiritual community that are constantly like, AI is so bad, it's the devil. Here's the thing. I wouldn't say that they're 100% wrong. I see their side, but I'm not going to spend my time fighting a system that we can't stop. So, what I am going to do, because I see the astrology technology is not going anywhere. And listen, I don't like it. I'm not going to hook myself up to a cloud. Like it's not like something that I'm interested in doing, but it's here. So, how can we use it for the highest good? How can we use it to open the consciousness of Earth? What can we do with this new consciousness that's in Earth? And we wouldn't have this consciousness available if we weren't developing our own operating system as well. So, as above, so below, we are developing in consciousness and with this technology as well. So, how are we going to work with it? And yes, I mean, are we going to see a lot of things that like absolutely I think are terrifying, like actually merging with AI? Yeah, but it's going to happen. I'm not saying I'm in line for it. There's going to be a bunch of people that do that, but I'm not signing up, right? But if you think about it, we are already connected, whether we like it or not. I mean, we're on this video thing, right? You're on your phone, you're on Instagram. I mean, we are connected to it. So we have to have a different awareness with it. I believe we have to have different boundaries, but we can't, it's not going to stop just because we want to stay in a cave and we want to, you can do that. But I'm here to observe humanity and go with this ride. So I'm going to ride this wave and I'm going to enjoy it. And also, I created a GPT because people always want me to read their chart and there's only one of me. So I created this GPT with my system, with my framework, so that it's empowering, so that it's exciting, so that it's, not scary, so that people could understand the cycles they're in and the divine timing of it. So that we have that out and I'm developing that even more. So I'm really showing that you can use this to help people. And I mean, the amount of people that are like that, your GPT, like gave me so much reassurance that I was on the right track. And, because everyone has their own cycles. So
I
it's really
love
beautiful.
that. I love
But
that.
technology is just going to change. School systems are going to change too.
It reminds me the technology piece of like Atlantis,
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. You
For
know, we're cyclical here, and we're in cycles. So it's like, are we just approaching the same thing with a different awareness? Probably. Yep. Right. So absolutely, and it's like, what, I say that a lot on my stories and my posts, and because it's not about me predicting. Like, yeah, I can see certain things in the sense of like the archetypes of what's going to happen, and there's possibilities. But true astrology is not about prediction. So I always say, what will humanity choose? And what will you choose? Because it's like we're shaping it right now. I don't know what humanity is going to choose. I mean, sometimes I have feelings, but we're shaping it as we go, right? So it's like, what are we going to do with it? How are we going to step into this?
Right. Two things. One, for people watching, where can they get your GPT? And I'm sure people know what that is by now, but it would be a way for you to use chat
Yeah.
GPT to take advantage of Danielle's like frameworks around astrology. So where can they get that from
Yeah,
you?
they can go right now. There's so much tech, and we're in the middle of so many things. But you can get it. You can follow me on Instagram, and I am Danielle Paige, and you can see everything at the link in my bio. Will be moving into an app that's in the process. So it's going to be a lot easier. So taking it out of chat, because right now it's in the beta phase, and there are some limitations with it. And ChatGPT, I don't know if people know, like it's an LLM, and it hallucinates, and it tells you some things. Like it will tell you a whole story, and then all of a sudden it will say something, and you're like, what? So that's a limitation, and that's why I'm taking it out of this. I'm putting in an app, but that's a work in progress. So that's going to be. But right now, it's there. It's in beta. You're getting the beta price. You're helping us shape this. We have a link. If there's an error, you send it to us, and but hopefully, in very soon after this comes out, it'll be in an app, and so we're going to alleviate all the problems. So becoming a tech founder now is really something that I didn't think was on my bingo card. Let me tell you. So. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right? I know. It's crazy. I remember when I first heard about AI, I was like, oh my gosh, that's terrifying. And now, obviously, so quickly, it's just becoming so woven into our way of life. But
Yeah.
I also agree with you. It's like, um, being the observer, being neutral, and having that whatever it's gonna have whatever meaning you give it, right? It's like people saying social media is terrible and toxic and you know dangerous, and it's like, well, it's
Yeah.
also such a beautiful
Yeah.
way to connect with people all
Yes.
over the world, and a
Mhm.
beautiful way to spread light, and a beautiful way to spread your mission and your purpose. So again, it's like the lens that you're choosing to look at it from.
Yeah. I just want
um
to say I agree with you. Like social media, there's some crazy stuff on here, but it's like that's where we have to have the boundaries and discernment. Like unfollow people that are not helping you grow, unfollow people that are not adding to your life. And if it's just there's a there's a lot of junk online, and there's a lot of funny stuff too, but it's like I catch myself sometimes. I'm like, how long have I been here watching reels? And I'm like, nobody watches TV anymore, really, because we're just on our phones, right? So it's a balancing act. We have to catch ourselves, and it's like, don't follow people that are not bringing you to your best self. Truly,
100%. Yeah, I always say that with my clients. Like, you need
yeah.
to do an audit in your social media and in your life, and if somebody
Life
isn't
audit.
adding
Yep.
value and you leave and you're feeling depleted and you're feeling like your energy is being drained,
Yeah.
then you have to set the boundary. You have to protect your energy, especially like what you said with like the collective, with everything that's happening. So I actually want to table that because I do have a question
Yeah.
about that, but also really quickly, you mentioned the school systems because
Mhm.
I have had my son in a lot of different hybrid type school settings since he was a little boy, just because I'm not a fan of the traditional school settings and education,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because of the way that it's set up.
Yeah.
Um, and I would just love to hear what your take is on that, or on, the schools changing.
Well, I think that exactly what you said is people are having more awareness that why are we doing this? Like, I get it. And there's no judgment. I mean, yeah, people need to work. They have to put their kids somewhere. Like, I
Right.
understand that. So there's zero judgment. But I believe that people are also understanding and waking up to what is my child learning? Are they getting indoctrinated? And we're seeing, this is a bigger conversation. I'm not going to get all into it because it can get really controversial, but I think it's important to see, what is the indoctrination that's happening? And
Yeah.
there's a lot of it
Yeah.
in a lot of places, and in universities, colleges, campuses, grade schools. And it's like, who is teaching your children and what are they teaching them? Okay. So, exactly what you've seen as well. And it's like, also, do they need to be wake up at 7 in the morning and have all this homework? And, it's not like they're going to just like be on the beach all day, but what is this for? Like, is this helpful? How are they even growing? Are they becoming an entrepreneur, or are they just learning to sit there and say yes? When I was in high school, I still remember this. This is so my personality. I remember you had to ask, to get the hall pass to go to the bathroom. Okay, so or like you take the hall pass and you go. So I took the hall pass because I had to go to the bathroom, and the teacher was like, "No, you can't go." And I literally was like, "Excuse me, you're telling me that I can't go to the bathroom? Are you inside my body? Like, do you know what's happening right now? Like, you can't tell me." I literally said this in high school. I'm like, you can't tell me that I can't go because I need to go to the bathroom right now. And it was this whole thing of like, no, I'm sorry, like I'm not going to have someone control me like that. So there's a lot of that what's happening. It was very interesting, and I'm seeing this with my friends with their kids. They're like, no, all these teachers are telling them to do certain things and it's not the best for them. So the school systems are changing. Do we even need to go to college anymore? I actually don't think you do. If I had a child, I wouldn't have them go to college. Now I think to be honest, I think it's a little waste of money. Unless you want to become a doctor, you have to become a lawyer, and there's certain things you have to do. But other than that, no, I would be like, oh, please don't go. Right? Because it's like there's so many other things that you could do. So it's completely changing. And there's just going to be a new way over the years of this. Like, it's not immediate, but over the years of this, it's going to be a new way of teaching. And it's going to be more common to homeschool, for pods, for this, for just different schooling experiences, because the world is changing and we don't need to do those things. Like, we don't need to do algebra and calculus. Like, what is the point of that unless you're doing something specific for that? I mean, honestly, I think that's the biggest waste of time.
Yeah.
Seriously. I get it.
I,
It teaches you how to think, but that's antiquated for what's going on now. Now, I will say this. I do see the younger generation, and I feel like they don't have some skill set because everyone's online doing TikToks and shaking their ass. So I understand that there's a balance, because it's like sometimes it's like people are becoming like, is there anyone home inside? Right. And like, all we strive for is to be seen online. So like there's a balance, but I think the old system is incredibly antiquated, and it's not in alignment with where we're going with all this Aquarius energy. It's just not going to last anymore. It's
yeah.
going to take time to completely dwindle out, but people are saying no.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I see it where I live. Well, obviously we live near each other, but
Yeah.
one of my really good friends, my son went to his school when he was a bit younger. My son plays basketball, and so the only reason I have him in a traditional high school setting is because his dream is basketball, right?
Yeah.
And so like he has these goals that are
Yeah.
for that. So right now, like that's kind of the platform, if you will, for what he's trying to do. But my friend who started this academy, they for all of these athletes, they do all of these amazing things for their sports, and then the way that they're teaching them is so um, in alignment with whatever their learning style is. And then obviously, like I'm coming in, I'm going to do a teach about manifestation and how your thoughts create
Oh,
your reality, and just I think it's just such a beautiful time
yeah.
for us to do something different, and to say, hey, wait, maybe this indoctrination system
Mhm.
isn't the best thing for the future of these kids. And one thing I want to say, like as a mom, my son is 17, and his level of consciousness, because
Yep.
I am constantly modeling that for him, he is
Yeah.
so open and
Mhm.
so aware. Like
Yes.
he'll say the same thing to me, like, Mom, I get it that we have to go to school because of the system,
Mhm.
but he'll say the same thing. Like, I will never ever use whatever I just learned in whatever class it is ever in my
Mhm.
life. And I'm like, I know, I get it. But I tell him it's good for your brain, you make your
Yeah.
brain stronger. But for all the parents out there who, whatever age you're at, I think Something that is just so important, and I always tell my clients this, is when you're working on yourself, right, and you're doing the inner work, that completely translates into your children, right? Because that becomes the
Yep.
model for
Yep.
them to sponge off of. Like
Yeah.
my son, again, he's so conscious, so evolved, so aware. So even being in like a more, he's actually in a Christian school, and it's just very amazing for him to see and observe, right? And and be able to still have this bigger lens, I guess, on
Beautiful.
everything. So I think that I don't know, I just wanted to add that in there for all the parents who are in transitions and
Yeah.
trying to figure things out. Like it doesn't, you don't have to do any sort of way. Like I feel like if you're making that imprint at home, you can keep them open. You can keep
Mhm.
their awareness open and keep them open to, yeah, their highest path and purpose.
So I've been talking about this for a while. I mean, the babies coming in and also the babies that have been coming in for, years now, the children, they're wired differently. They have a higher consciousness. It's a completely different program. You can see it because they're born with the astrology of the birth chart right now, right? So we're navigating a higher consciousness, and these children are coming in here. So again, these systems are old, and they're coming in with way more light, way more consciousness, way more DNA activation, and they're going to be the ones also telling us. So it's unfortunate though that there's this balancing act, but there's duality on earth. These children are very wise, they're very open, they're way more conscious. Like it took me to 30 for me to pop open and have awareness, and some of these kids are doing it at like 15, right? So it's a very different time, but they also don't have the karma that like a lot of my generation and
Mhm.
older had to go through. And we agreed to this, that we incarnate in soul groups, and this is just exactly how it needed to be. So it's fascinating to see the children and the parents are going to be the ones saying no, this is not working. And so it's going to be people taking chances, people starting new groups, people starting new schools. I follow a lot of schools because I don't have children yet, but I'm very fascinated with it, and I'm always watching and observing. And there's so many new school systems popping up. And when I was in school, I felt like I was dumb the whole time. And really, it comes down to, one, I was bored. Two, I was ahead of the time because I knew that this was, honestly, I kept saying, why do I need to learn this, right, as a kid? So, and I was bored. And then I go to college, and then all of a sudden I got straight A's because I was like motivated to do something. So it's, a lot of these people are, they're ahead of the curve now, and so we need to catch up to them, and we need to ask questions. But I was going to say the polarity is, there's so many people that are conscious, so many kids, but then also there's so many kids that are just sucked into their phones, and it's like their souls like leaving the building. So it's like they're very conscious, but then it's like they're just getting programmed.
Yeah.
Like there's that emoji with like the eyes like that, and so like that's what's happening. So it's almost like, it's a balancing act as well, because they have more consciousness, but then they're getting programmed in the system because the system wants to keep you slow and dumb and controlled and broke, right? And so it's all these things. So yeah.
Yep. Amen. It's so true. I'm so glad that this came through to have
Yeah.
this conversation, because I'm sure so many people that are either wanting to have kids or have children already can resonate. And I think something else just
Yeah.
that's coming through is um, like really follow what feels in alignment and feels true for you and your family.
Yeah.
I think like with social media, that is an unfortunate piece, is that all of the curated images of what
Mhm.
life looks like
I
is
know.
really this really false illusion. And it's so easy to get drawn in like, oh, like, I should be doing this and that and this and that. And
Yeah.
it's like, take a step back and go within and look at your family, your values, what's important, and find what works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, there was one other piece really quickly,
Sure.
and this could go well for a long time, but just like I just would love if you have any feedback or insight. You talked about how this is going to be an intense year, right? Like all of these systems falling, basically. Um, I have a lot of clients, people who write in on the show, people in the community that are very highly sensitive. Like most
Mhm.
women who find my work are empaths because I'm an
Yep.
empath, so I am
Yep.
attracting light workers, empaths, and some of them really struggle with the energy of
Mhm.
the collective
Yep.
and the dismantling, if you
Yep.
will. It's it's almost unbearable for some of them. And so I give them different tools and different things that have helped. But I would love if you have any insight on what you share for your students that are sensitive, that are navigating these.
So it's not even my students, it's me. I'm probably one of the most sensitive people that you'll ever meet. If there's like a 1% chance, I'm the one that it happens to. Mind, body, soul, I've learned. I'm very porous. I have like there's a lot of people that have like a, we'll just call it like a fishnet around the field, and I don't have that. And it's been overwhelming my entire life. So I'm actually teaching a course. I start tonight. It's called The Art of Intuition, and I'm teaching people how to tap into their intuition and protect their energy, and what that actually means, because it's not just putting a bubble around us. Like that doesn't do anything for me. Like I put bubbles all around me and it doesn't do anything. So how have I navigated? Well, I eat super clean. What we put in our physical body is our light as well, and it's our electrical system, it's our cosmic body. So that's really important. So it's important to strengthen the field, strengthen the body as well. So I eat very clean. I can't even tolerate wine anymore. So I don't have any processed food. I don't have any dairy. I don't have any alcohol. Um, and I don't have any sugar. So that to me is what I can do to be the best open channel and to be clear. And it's also about, to me, it's sure, if you want to put a bubble around you, it's good because the universe is run on intention. So great. But I'm just going to tell you, like, it doesn't really do anything for me. So for me, it's a lot of cleaning out, clearing out, grounding, putting my feet in the actual grass or sand is amazing. You know, when I lived on the ocean in Miami on the beach, I didn't realize that at the time until I moved, because it just happened so naturally. But my physical body was the in the best shape that it's ever been. And I don't just mean like physically, like looking, I don't mean that. I mean, I actually felt the best that I've ever felt. So it's very interesting because I was grounding on the beach every day. So grounding, and it's also, I'm teaching something about pushing faint matter out and clearing that out of your field. And that's really important. So I think we have to get used to constantly cleansing, just like we take a shower all the time. We don't see this, so we don't know we have to do this. And trust me, I'm the queen of forgetting. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's right. Hold on. Because I just get so busy, right? But we have to clean this, right? And that's so important. And this is field is what makes up a lot of our experiences. Now, that being said, I'm not the kind of person that's like, it's only what's in your field. No, because we have certain soul contracts that we're destined for no matter what. But we got to clear this field because we want it to be a nice receiver, so that we can attract better things in while we're going through maybe like these rough patches, right? So, I mean, there's a lot. I'm going to be doing a whole 2 hour talk on it, but it's your mind, body, soul. And it's like, who also is in your, like, if you're sensitive to everything, like, what are you eating? What are you watching? What is your house like? Is it messy? Is it clean? Who are you around? Who are you talking to? What are you ingesting in your life in every sense?
Hmm.
Everyone wants a quick fix, like put a bubble around you, but I'm like, it's so much more than that, to be honest. So
Hmm.
much more. It's like, what are you doing too? Are you strengthening your solar plexus? Are you really cutting cords? Are you breathing through your body? You're letting the oxygen go through your body. I mean, there's just so many things.
Right. I love that. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
And so much of what I teach too. So I love what
Yeah.
you're doing, and
Beautiful.
it resonates so much for the women tuning in. And then one more thing that you said is like, what are you watching? That's one thing for anyone who's tuning in or listening. I also find like stop watching the news. Stop looking into the Epstein files. Like just yeah, stop consuming it. It's I understand have your finger like I like to have my finger on the pulse of what's going on, but it's like if that's not serving me to stay in my light and serve in my purpose, then me knowing every single gory detail um isn't is if that creates like a visceral reaction in my nervous system, how is that in service, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a slippery slope because, like, listen, the Epstein files, for example, is so horrific. But to be honest, I'm not shocked about any of that. And even a lot of the names that people are shocked about, not shocked. I've kind of known about some of these
Right,
people before. And
right,
again, I'm not here to say names, so it's not my business to say that. But the point is, so I'm like, I'm not going down this rabbit hole because this is not new to me. For a lot of people, this is new. And
mm,
this is a little bit of their awakening because it's like putting people on pedestals, right? Thinking that the world is one way. It's like, it's very scary. So it's almost like they have to see this for the first time. And it's a little bit important, you know? So it's like, that's a balancing act. Like, I'm not saying stay in it because it's very dark, but I think there has to be an awareness of what's going on. You know, I
right,
got yelled at constantly in 2020 because I saw through it
right,
in April of 2020.
right,
I saw through, and nobody was ready. Not nobody. A lot of people weren't ready to hear it, right?
right,
And there's nothing that I said in 2020 that wasn't accurate.
right,
So, it's about being like, there are some things that are here to wake us up. And I think that there's a reality that some people need to see because people are living in an illusion. And, that's an important part of their soul evolution. So, again, I'm not saying stay in there.
right.
I agree with you. But some people need to really see because, and also, but people don't even believe it because it's so bad that they're like, there's something in your brain that just blocks out when it's so bad. You're just like, no, it's not possible. Right.
Mm,
But yeah, no, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Wait till they find out more of what's going on. I mean, listen, there's things that I get that I could never say ever because it's dangerous, But I'm like, okay, so I'm like, why am I given this information? And then I feel like sometimes I'm just given this information to help guide people, but I don't need to like say certain things. So yeah,
yeah,
I could
I
never say
agree
certain
with
things.
that.
So
What's that?
I said I could never say certain things, because they would come after you. So yeah.
Right. Yes, I know
Mhm.
very well. And that's a really good point. Is that is an important piece to have your awakening, to know, to I guess see the illusion.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what's really big with Saturn and Neptune moving out of Pisces into Aries is like piercing through the veil and seeing through the illusion.
and that's the gift in it for everybody that's tuning in. So instead of like looking at it as like this big bad wolf and horrible thing, it's like, no, I'm glad the veil is lifting and I'm seeing the truth,
Mhm.
so that I'm not sitting in this fake illusion, in this very
Yeah,
3D superficial.
it's not easy. I know.
Yeah,
Like honestly though, when 2020 happened, I sat there and I'm like, oof, okay. And then I realized, oh, I know I went through my awakening when I did, and I know why my early 30s were so hard and brutal, and I was so alone. And I mean, I was just getting ripped open and crying all the time, and it was like so hard. Now I'm like, now I'm good. So when it happened, I'm like, oh, I know why that happened. I'm like, I told my audience, I'm like, I got you guys. Let's go. Let's ride. Like, I got you.
yeah,
Like, we're going to be okay. No,
yeah,
and listen, there was a lot of bad things that happened to people because, I mean, yeah, people got sick because it was created. So, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, you and I could have a lot of great conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally in alignment with everything you're saying and felt the same way. And I think that's also why it's not as it's disturbing, but it's like it's not a shock. It's like, yeah, it's like my people are like, are you looking at them? And it's like, no, I already know what's
Mhm.
in there. So why do that to myself in terms of like irritating? It's like watching, a kid get human trafficked. It's like
It's
this is
horrible.
something that I know is an epidemic. I know it's happening, but me sitting watching it, it's like and it doesn't help me to resolve the issue. What helps me to resolve the issue is by contributing to causes that actually are doing something and continuing to stay in my light body so that I can help to heal the planet, right? As we all can do individually. So we can raise the frequency and the consciousness
Yeah.
and create more light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we're here for. It's like, what are you going to contribute? How are you going to leave this earth? Do you want to leave it better? Like, let's go. Now's the time. There's so many things that we can create and help people. And it's like, it's really easy. It's like, find a problem. Everyone has a problem. So it's like, solve that problem and help people.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I love your light. I love your wisdom. I'm really grateful for you taking the time today. I know it's a big day for you launching this beautiful course. So I'm super excited for you for that, and just holding so much space for it to be absolutely magical. And then
Yeah.
when people do get to watch this, you can check out. I'll link your page to everywhere that we disperse the podcast, so you guys can check her out and check out her work and all the amazing things.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, have an amazing rest of your night. Thank you for being here. And hopefully, let's do it again soon.